This is Real Women, celebrating women in film. I'm your host, Brenda Daly, and I am here with a very good friend of mine who I think is such a fantastic actress and filmmaker. She really, I feel like her and I are like very simpatico on the things that we do, and I want to introduce you to Julie Garcia Briceno. Hi, Julie. How are
Hi.
you? How's it going?
I'm glad to be here. Everything's going well.
Yeah, I've been working really hard to get you on the show.
I know.
Julie is so busy. She's been doing so many things, and I aspire to be as organized as you, but I feel like I have a little trouble with that. I'm a little more ADHD than you.
No, I just have a way of making it look easy.
Yeah, I mean, Julie really does work as probably one of the hardest working women that I've ever met. I feel like she's always doing that work-life balance, which I think for most filmmakers, including myself, it's hard. And I think for women, we're so used to multitasking, but, to multitask and be an actress and write her own stuff and be a filmmaker is pretty.
I did all of that.
Yeah, and you do make it look easy. I know it's not, but I think you make it look easy, and I think that you're somebody to be admired for that.
Oh, I thank you.
So we're going to talk about you and your life and what you're doing, what you've done in the past, and what you're doing now. So I want to ask you is, when did you catch the bug?
Well, I caught the bug while I was actually an executive flight attendant who worked here in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I moved here in 2007,
Mm-hmm.
and I flew celebrities for a living. So it was an executive flight position, and that's when I actually caught the bug. A few years after, there was a sort of a tragic accident that happened in our family. My young nephew passed away of sleep apnea, and I just started reflecting on things that maybe I hadn't done because he was so young and he hadn't done so many things. And on my bucket list was acting. And I come from a small town where you don't really think it's available to you. And once I moved to Vegas and I would stalk other actors on Facebook.
We're all stalkers, so get over it. Go ahead.
I would think, I could do that. I want to do that. Can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. And one morning I woke up and I told my husband, I said, I'm going to take acting class. And he said, you're going to what? Yeah, I'm going to take acting class. I said, I don't know if I'll be any good at it, but it's something that I always wanted to try, and I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to take a class. So I took Paul Campanella's class, and I wanted to observe.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm just here to watch. And he said, no, there won't be any watching. You'll be participating. And I was like, but I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm any good. And he said, well, that's what we're going to find out.
Right.
And I went through with the class, and at the end of the class, he said, I think you have potential. And I thought he was just, yanking my chain. But I continued to take classes and started booking. So
I feel like when you took the class, he made you feel comfortable, so that's a good sign of an acting coach. And I feel like when you watch other people do what you aspire to do, and they make it, and you look at them and you think, wow, they're doing it, why can't I? I mean, of course, Brad Pitt and Julia Roberts is going to be very, because they're so good. But, when you look at really what really actors are doing and you see the pattern on all the work that they have to do on set, I think it's kind of inspiring because you look at them and you go, you know what? They're just like me, right?
that's right. And I was terribly shy. You wouldn't know that now, looking at me.
I don't believe you.
But as a flight attendant, even when I had to give the, instructions and announcements, I would sweat profusely. And it was one of the things that I wanted to get over. I was like, I think if I take these classes, I can get over this fear. But I have to tell you, along the years, the person that put it best was Amy Linden, because she says, if you're always worried about what people are thinking out here, it's because you're not in here, you're still in here.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuck with me. And it started to get easier over the years.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point for anybody who's taking any acting classes. And if you're not taking acting classes, you're really not an actor, because I feel like that is your job. Your job is, of course, to do the auditions, and it's, of course, to do all the business work. But I think your real basic job is always to keep working so that you're moving to the next level and the next level. And that's why those big time actors are so good, because they're in class. I don't know if you know this, people, but they're always getting private instruction. They are always in class because it means that much to them. And I'm always better working with somebody. I don't feel like I can do it by myself. I always, of course, to save money and everything, but I think in the long run, the COVID has really kind of made me feel a little less as good as I thought I was. But I know I have to keep moving forward and get back into class, because, yes, if you're getting paid as an actor, you're a paid actor, but I think you want to make sure that your toolbox is nice and has a lot of elasticity to it. You have the more tools you have, the better actor you are.
Right. And even if you're always working, you're still in the game, you're still learning.
Yep. And you look at all other kind of companies, they're the same way. You're always going back and taking those refresher courses or to give you whatever new and up and coming. Well, that's your life as an actor, right?
Right.
So let's talk about your filmmaking, because Julie, being an actress, had aspired to be a filmmaker only because she was trying to help her classmates to get their clips done and their reels done. So tell us about that.
In order to get credit on IMDb, of course, you have to have clips.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't getting the roles that I wanted. I was older when I started. I was in my 50s. I was 50 actually when I started. And so, what I thought I could do and what the casting people thought I could do we were on two different pages. Mm-hmm. And I, wanted to be an action stunt actor, or I had all these dreams of what I thought I could do. And so I decided to write them, and so I came up with an action series. I came up with a Christmas story where I play different characters, and a couple other things. I play a mother. I'm trying to get all the clips that I can possibly use for my type. And
it can get really expensive.
It can.
At least that's the way it was when you first started. It's really expensive because, we didn't have the phone technology that we have today. So, you're putting a lot more out of pocket.
Right.
So tell us about as far as those things that you put together. I know you did a Christmas movie, and you also got Women Filmmaker of the Year at a film festival, which is fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. That was August 2020.
Yeah. So and
self-taught,
and that's my jam. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you really do personify the person that is just putting herself out there and getting better and better and better. But I want you to tell me about the movie, because Julie's Jewish. And as I am partially, but Julie is a practicing Jewish person, but it was her faith-based film based on, there's not a lot of films about the Jewish religion.
Right. And Hanukkah.
Right, and you wanted people to understand that, which I think is totally cool.
Yeah. Well, my granddaughter had an interest in the story of Hanukkah. And so I said, well, if she's got an interest in it, then there must be other children who may be interfaith that are also inquiring about what is it all about. And so I decided to write a short children's holiday film that incorporates Christianity and Judaism and combining the two, and we call that Christmasica.
Yeah, when you were doing it, I was like really excited about it, because that's kind of how I grew up. I mean, well, my mother, religiously, my mother was a Catholic turned Buddhist, but as far as, all my friends were Christian, but my father was Jewish. So, and I always went to, Hanukkah at my auntie's house. So when you wrote it, it was like, oh my God, she's speaking to me. Like this is me in my world. So I felt like it was a very important story.
Yeah, and anything that I write, I hope that it leaves that legacy of it being a story that has a meaning.
Well, yeah, because I mean, some of these faiths have been around for I don't know, thousands and thousands of years, and I think we kind of get lost in the shuffle because everything's so materialized, and so I felt like that was really important because there's a lot of kids that are Jewish that kind of feel left out. I mean, when I was growing up, my mom had a Christmas tree. My dad called it his Hanukkah bush. So I felt like that was I thought it was very cool. I thought that was a important thing. So you also had a young lady that was an actress in it. And so can you tell us about her and what you did for her?
So we cast Ashley Grubbs and in the role of I can't think of her name.
It doesn't matter, the main character.
Raka, which means bless.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then she went on to Hollywood to be in Pen 15.
Yeah, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she was the main character, right?
Yeah,
like she was the main protagonist, right?
Right. She was Villain of the Year, I believe, 2020 in Variety magazine.
Oh, that's great. Mm-hmm. That's great. And I'm sure it's exciting to discover new talent, and to have it be in your project.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And she also won Best Child Actress in 2019.
Right. So what is it? So I know that you're taking the NYU certification class for filmmaking. Mm-hmm. And so what prompted you to do that? Because I'm getting ready to take that.
Well, most of all because I've been self-taught. As you know, people want to know what your background is and do you have any credentials.
Right.
But so I've taken it, and I think the highlight of it is learning a lot about the history of filmmaking and how there were so many women, back years and years ago who were the pioneers of filmmaking and directing.
Right, and then when people found out there was actually money to be made, they kind of pushed back because of the era that it was in. I think that's a really good point. I think it's evolving again, though. I mean, the women are really becoming the forefront because people are starting to understand. And I just worked on a big production. I mean, not millions and millions, but it's $3.5 million production. And you know what I noticed the most? The people running behind the scenes in the production office were all women.
Wow.
They were all women. Mm-hmm. They were doing all the paperwork, making sure all the I's are dotted, all the T's were crossed. They were making sure that everything was on set that needed to be done. They were making sure people got where they needed to go. They were like an engine, I was PAing and I did so many things for them, but I felt like that kind of personifies the whole women in film thing.
Right. Well, we're so good at multitasking.
Right. So, and I know you're having your filmmaking, your actress career is also blooming. And so I wanted you to talk about that because I know you have been booking commercials and you've been doing movies. So I want you to talk about the movie that's on Tubi right now.
So, I took a step back from filmmaking because I never was intending to be a filmmaker. I only did it to create clips, and then it evolved, and it is what it is. I enjoy all aspects of it, and it also helped me in my acting career because, you're getting to see how everything comes together. And I'm the type of person that likes to know anything that I do from the inside out. And I've got my past, present, and future films. So past was this year, and it's been a really good year, and I call it a godsendence.
I like that.
Because it was a double whammy. It came from two sides of submitting for it, and then eventually, I was told, hey, we want her. So I did Skeletons in the Closet, It's a Terrence Howard and Mira Packard film, and that'll be coming out. I believe it's going to be a Netflix film, 2023. And then, and so currently we have Pimpstress, where I play a Madame La Madre, who is the largest brothel owner in Las Vegas, and again, protagonist, which I love playing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did see the movie. I thought you were great. Like, perfect casting, you know. I thought it was...
And so that's on Webstream TV. It dropped 1st of August, and it's on like 20 different channels this month.
That's great. That's fantastic.
And so it's doing very well. That's
great. I love that. And so, I know you've been doing tons of commercial work, and you have an agent. And so what is your, in your mind, because I feel like you're a doer and you kind of move things forward on your own, and I know you have the whole, you know, you believe that if you think it or dream it, you can achieve it because you're doing it. So in your mind, how do you see your career in like 5 years?
I'm really concentrating on feature films. I'm trying to get away from independent and concentrate on television.
Yeah, I think television's really where you can live. Like you can live off the money to do the next gig, you know. And I think I love independent films. I just feel like it's hard to make a living doing it.
Right.
You know,
right.
because
it's great practice. Great practice.
It's great practice, and you run into great people that are going to do great things in the future. And you know, if you're just getting started, you should definitely do it. But I think you know, you have to get to a point where it's like, yeah, you know, I want to do it, but you know, is it worth my time? Because you know, you got to make a living, and you've got to.
If it's a good project with a good story, because my future film, which is who's going to take care of me. Is that the name of it?
Yep. Yeah, Marlene Fields.
Are you
Fields is her first. No, we're not editing anything. So Marlene Fields it's her first time directing, and she actually wrote the script, and it won a bunch of film festivals for her script writing. So I'm excited to see it. You know, we've interviewed her. I think she's a wonderful lady, and I think it's super important to get involved in that. I'm not really sure how. You know, do you know when they're going to start filming?
I believe in a couple of weeks.
Oh, well, that's great. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. So, is there anything?
So I'm that busy that I can't always remember even what I'm working on.
No, I know. And it's funny because I'm trying to learn how to, you know, I Google calendar, but I'm always hit and miss. And then I think I missed an interview one time. Don't tell her. She already knows. I already apologized profusely. I couldn't blame it on anybody or even tell a fib because I knew it was all me. But I feel like it's important to, you know, to be constantly out there. I mean, I feel like, you know, being a working actor, you're just constantly busy, you know, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like, they think that they're just going to walk on set, which sometimes they get that. Yeah. But you walk on set and do background, then you get bumped up. That's great. But you need to make sure that you understand that if you want to continuously step forward, you have to invest. And you have to invest a lot of money. Like, people are like, well, headshots can be anywhere between $500 and $1,000. Well, my husband's a realtor. Keep his real estate license going is $2,000 a year.
Right.
So you have to look at that. And then the classes I was taking, or I am taking right now, they explain to you that the reason why the actors that have made it in the past is because they write a lot of letters, and they sent out a lot of mail, and we have digital now. So yes, you have to pay a lot for those hosting sites, but it's probably cheaper than it was to mail all those 8x10s or, hey, postcards, this is how I'm doing, and you know, the gifts, and there's a lot you can do online. You can send a $20 gift card to your favorite casting director and thank them for the opportunity, or if you get cast. I think that, you know, we have everything a little more streamlined. It just seems like a lot in the moment, you know, and I think when my daughter was doing it when she was younger, I didn't understand how important those little things are to move forward, you know, because you can be the best actor in the world, but if people don't know you're there, then you have nothing.
Right, exactly.
You know.
So you have to keep yourself relevant. So, which is the reason I try to continue working in commercials, film. I just did reality TV, which I swore I would never do. But you have to stay relevant.
Yeah, and I think, you know, most actors are like, oh, it's reality TV, but I think now it's been around so long, it's like, oh, I need to get on the show so people know my name and know who I am, and I think that there's really, everything you do is pretty much relevant, you know, and I think most actors nowadays are doing what you have done, which is making their own content, because how are you going to get those roles that you know you're perfect for, but nobody knows who you are? You got to make a clip of you being in that show. So you need to pick the shows that you love, that you feel like you would be perfect for,
right.
And you need to do a 1-minute clip so that you can show casting directors and you can show agents, look, I'm perfect for this. And now it's the world of the digital age, so now it's okay, show me. Can't just send a picture because no one's going to look at it.
Right. Everything is visual.
Yeah, everything's a show me.
You know, you got
Prove
TikTok,
it.
IG.
Yep.
People want to see you moving.
Prove it. You know, and I think even as a filmmaker, you have to prove your point. And you have to prove that you can do it. You know, because even though shorts are great to get started on, they don't make you any money, and I learned, because I learned over the last year, it's a completely different animal. Shorts are easy compared to making a feature film, because in a feature film there's so many moving parts and you have to make so many more decisions because you have more bodies to move around. For me, I picked a lot of locations because I was getting very, you know, I really wanted to prove myself, but I feel like there's a lot of moving parts, and then you have to learn about distribution and all kinds of stuff that, you know, that you don't really learn as a short film person.
You don't learn as much, but it's still good practice.
No, you need it. No, short films are fantastic, and you get a little recognition for your creativity.
Yes,
you know,
definitely.
I think the feature film is more management capabilities more than creativity.
Right, and I look forward to doing one. I'm actually outlining something, a Latina-based feature that I hope to do in the future.
Yeah, and I think too, Julie represents the Latina community, and I think it's important, you know, to, you know, show who you are and where you come from, so that others will, you know, say, oh, you know, I see somebody like me, and I could do that if that's what they want to do, or just live in that world, you know, because they're living the story through your eyes, you know. And I think it's important. And I don't know about you, but we spend way too much time in front of the TV.
No, we do too. That is our leisure time.
Yeah, well, it's a long day for us, and you know, my husband's a big consumer of television. So is there a woman in film that made you want to be a filmmaker or be an actress?
When I think of other women who inspire me, I think of Penny Marshall, who was a pioneer.
She really was.
She was an actress and a director.
Yep.
And as far as you know, sales go in ticket purchases, she was there. You know, she made huge box office
features,
returns.
and she was a TV star.
And she was a TV
and
star. And she didn't think she can do it.
Well, and the thing is though, luckily for her, she had Gary Marshall as her brother, and he thought she was the funniest thing ever. And so when he did Laverne and Shirley, he was like, no, you don't understand. You have to talk to my sister. And that really launched her because he believed in her. And I think that it's important for us as women who are doing these things, is we need those people that believe in us. Because,
right.
You know, because sometimes we don't know if we can do it until somebody says, oh, you can do this, you know, and support you for that. So we all need to support each other. And, you know, I think every time we talk about women, we're always like, we always put the men aside a little bit, But it's not that we're trying to put them aside, because I think that we see that, and you guys make us kind of raise to that level. And I feel like, and for me, for the most part, I feel like the men that I have that are in the industry have really always be willing to answer my questions. They really do go out of their way to make sure that I succeed, and I just wanted to thank you all for that, including our fantastic DP Steven Sebo, who has, you know, he's been the DP for Mom Squad, and he's been the DP for a lot of stuff that I have done. And it's like, you know, as opposed to arguing, well, you can't do this, he's like, well, so how do you want to do it? And I think that's very important, you know.
Yeah, it is. You have to have your say, your final vision in whatever it is that you're doing.
And you have to somebody believe in that final vision in order to go along for the ride, especially if you're just starting out, you know, because nobody knows how it's going to turn out. I don't think in any project anybody really knows how it's going to turn out.
No, I agree. I didn't know how anything that I worked on was going to turn out. And the day that I saw the short that I did, I actually cried. And still, when I watch it, I cry. I was like, I can't believe that turned out so well.
Yeah,
you know,
I thought it turned out really well.
It's not because of me; it's because of the team.
Exactly, but it's also, you know, your management skills on your team. I think, you know, directing is more management than it is creative. I mean, it can be creative, but I think if you're the writer, producer, director, then you're all the creative, and you're just, you know, yeah, you know, and hopefully, you know, you're a good listener, because I think that that's very important.
It is important.
Mm-hmm.
It's important so that you can grow. You want to listen. You want to watch people. People watching is important, you know, so that ultimately your vision comes to fruition.
Yeah, so what is your biggest tip? Because we're getting ready to close up, but I wanted you to give people out there that are just like you a tip that has always stuck with you.
The tip that's always stuck with me is never say, I got this, because when you say I got this, you don't got this.
I think you do. I think you just, you know, your brain is like, okay, I have the idea. May not work, but I'm going to let everybody feel like I'm in control of what's going on.
Right. So be humble, be open, be teachable.
Yes.
Are really important.
Right. And you know what? My biggest thing is let people give you advice. Take some of it if you feel like it's valid. Doesn't mean it's not valid. Just maybe you don't feel like it's valid in that moment. And then, you know, but it's always good to have those, because you will use some of it, you know. You just have to, you know, feed out what works for you and what not. You know, there's no such thing as a bad idea in my eye. Well, maybe Sharknado was a bad idea, but they made it, and they made a whole franchise out of it. I mean, what was that meeting like? You know,
right.
Let's make a movie about sharks in a tornado.
Sometimes you got to think outside of the box.
Right, right. And I think it was just so fantasized that people were like, yeah, I can go along with this.
I like a little more of realism, but that's just me.
Right. I know. I do like those B films. So this has been great. I'm super excited. So Julie is going to be a guest host here and there for Real Women. So I always love her input, and I love her energy. And so if you would like to be on Real Women, please contact me. You can DM me. I'm on Facebook. Instagram, I'm Mama Birdnest. And how will people be able to get a hold of you, Julie?
My website is www.juliegarcia, Briceno, spelled BRICENO.com.
Yeah, that's always a hard one for me. I always spell it wrong. And of course, we'll be able to find all of her information down below in the comments. And I just wanted to say I really appreciate you. And this is Real Women, celebrating women in film. And today we celebrated Julie Garcia Briceno. Thank you so much, Julie.
Watch Pinterest.
Watch Pinterest. Yeah, make sure you
TV,
look for
it's
stuff.
free.
It's free. Do it. Thanks a lot.
Those streets don't love you. Hey, bitch, you looking for a ride? Those streets don't love nobody. I like you. And I think you know what the fuck you're doing. I want to be rich, like those girls I seen on IG.
How can I help you, Detective Wong?
Madre. Unfortunately, this is not a social visit.
Bitch, you just fucked up a whole lot of money.
We cut it off.
I'll kill you.
Next time we talk.
Bitch! I want to meet the bitch ass nigga that'll beat a woman like this.
I'm innocent.
There's some girl named Shay that's supposed to be trying to take over.
I'm gonna teach these bitches a lesson about messing with my money.
See you on the blade, bitch.